Good afternoon, everyone. This is Lakshmi Priya, Assistant Professor from Department of CSC. We are all on the last session of day 3, and it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker of today's session, Mr. Srinivasan Sundararajan, who is going to talk about blockchain in healthcare for the next 1.5 hours. Mr.
Yeah, please.
I'll share the PPT also, sir. Sorry.
Sure.
Mr. Srinivasan is currently working with GAVS Technologies as a technology advisor. His works are focused on multimodal database, blockchain, and data mining. He has more than 25 years of industry experience. Apart from this, he is closely related with educational institutions in promoting emerging technologies among student members. On behalf of our management and Department of CSC, I welcome you, sir, for this session, and I request you to take over the session. Thank you.
Sure, ma'am. Thanks for the introduction. So let me just quickly give some, introduction outside of this. As mentioned by ma'am, so I have been working with your college for the last 3-4 years, and several of your students have been working with me in the past as interns, and now they have successfully joined as employees in GAVS. Each year, more students we are taking, and I would be seeing, a lot of quality from your students. And I am happy to see that in the coming years also more students will join our organization as well as other organization and improve their career. So in this context, correct, I know this is the third or fourth day of the session from this technology and blockchain perspective. So I am not really going to talk about the basics of blockchain, which I have already seen the session agenda. Like there are several good sessions on blockchain, Ethereum, Corda, R3, Hyperledger, and all those kind of technology aspects of it. Okay, so in this session today, I will for more position on how blockchain could be used in various domains. Okay, one of the very important domains, especially in today's scenario, correct, after the corona, you feel that one industry which has grown in this pandemic is the healthcare industry. Not because they wanted profit, but that is out of the need, because healthcare is something no one can avoid at any cost. Okay, for example, during this pandemic time, the travel industry has completely destroyed because no one has traveled. Tourism industry, travel industry, even manufacturing industry has gone down, but healthcare industry has in fact grown from what it was to much higher, because there was more need for hospitals, more need for patient analytics and all those kind of more insurance and all those kind of this thing. So with this context, saying what is, I wanted to tell this introduction because you have to understand the importance of healthcare industry vis-a-vis the other industries. While every industry is important for an economy, healthcare is something which will never die in any situation. Even in a recession, correct, the healthcare will always be there. Okay, so in that context, I will now share few of my thoughts on how blockchain could be utilized in healthcare, and I have put various use cases. Okay, multiple use cases, and I am explaining you how these use cases would be enhanced by the health by blockchain. Okay, are you seeing my screen now? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir. We are able to see.
Okay. So even though correct, so I have to talk about. Don't worry about this heading. This heading has been given for other healthcare clients. So it is directly jumping into a few terminologies. So rather, I will go into the topic straight away. Okay. So before as I told you, correct, I wanted to talk about usage of blockchain in 4 or 5 use cases across healthcare. The first use case is about patient data. Okay, so before I talk about patient data, I wanted to tell you about the categories of patient data. So at a very high level, there are 3 categories of patient data. You could easily visualize it because every house at some point in time somebody would have been a patient. Of course, we don't want it, but some point in time, correct, somebody in our house would have been a patient. Okay, so the patient category is consisting of 3 types. The first category is known as an EMR, electronic medical records. What it is that it is the health related information of an individual that is specific to one healthcare organization. For example, somebody is sick, okay, or they go to Apollo hospital, okay, they get treated, okay, maybe after 3-4 days of some kind of surgery and all, they get treated. So they would have collected various information about their, blood pressures, sugar related information, and X-ray information. So this particular information of an individual within an hospital is known as an EMR. Now the next category is known as an EHR, the electronic health record. The electronic health record is that if today, correct, you cannot guarantee a person will go to only one hospital. For example, a person may go to Apollo today, even within the same city, he may go to, say, Global Health Hospital on another day, okay, or he may transfer to another city. He may go to Bangalore and he has to continue his treatment. So now he go to another hospital, but this hospital 2 has to know the information that has happened in the hospital 1. How this hospital 1's record is available to hospital 2, that is patient information across more than one healthcare organization. It is known as an electronic health record. How it is interlinked between two hospitals and get a unified view, this is known as an electronic health record. Okay, so that is the category number 2. So you understand the difference between EMR and EHR. EMR is for one hospital. EHR is the consolidated data across multiple hospitals. Nowadays, there is a third kind of a thing also, which is known as a personal health record. Today, correct, a lot of people are doing, home-based monitoring, correct? You don't have to really go to hospital. Lot of devices have come, including very advanced, say some kind of, even for heart-related ailments also, you could check the information at home itself. Today, everybody is checking their blood sugar and BP and all at home only. Nobody is going to hospital. Like 10 years back, right? Even to check sugar, everybody was going to hospital. Today, everybody is doing at the home. And apart from that, there are several, these tidbits and several kind of health app and other things are there. So these information should also be joined with the other two information. So the third kind of information is known as a personal health record, where the information coming from the individual perspective. Okay, so basically these three together is known as the patient data. Okay, now I will move on. Any doubt also you please ask in between. Now today we know that correct EHR is important. EHR will ultimately give you one single view of the patient across all hospitals and include his personal data that he collects at his home through various devices, which is very important. As I told you, correct, you go to another hospital, the previous hospital's record cannot be missed. Otherwise, they may do some kind of a wrong diagnosis and wrong treatment. Now, what are all the current problems with the today's EHR problem? The first problem is that, correct, the lack of unique identity. Okay, so which means that if the patient goes to two hospitals, how do we ensure that this is the same patient? Okay, because there is an Aadhaar card, Aadhaar ID is there, but not much hospitals are using Aadhaar ID as the primary key. They may be having their own primary key. They may having a primary key like inpatient 00XX001, something like that. Now the other hospital may call him as YY002. Now, how do we know that these two are the same? You cannot use the name because same name people can exist. You cannot use the address because he would have changed the address. So how do we ensure that this is the same person between the two hospitals? The second thing is that, correct, while you allow the data to be shared, okay, but what if today, correct, there is lot of fraud is also happening, correct? Like banks, banks, what happened? You go to some bank, correct, and get some, you ask for some loan, okay, but suddenly somebody, some people will call you saying that, okay, do you want a loan? Okay, how it happens is that your data is somehow sold, or you buy a house, you register for an house, somebody will ask you whether you needed a loan or something like that. So what is happening is that today the data is also sold. Whenever it is shared, it is also compromised. So which means that while I will allow the hospital to share the information, I wanted to ensure that it is shared in a subject to the privacy laws of the given place. Okay, this HIPAA and GDPR are the privacy laws in USA. India, there is some laws are coming. These parliament sessions are going on. They are coming for some privacy laws, but I'm not sure about the law name. But this HIPAA and GDPR are the US and Europe privacy laws, which means that if a patient says that my data cannot be shared to any other person outside this hospital, then it has to be protected. You cannot share that patient information. So this is another issue faced in today's this thing. And another thing is that, correct, today you would have seen, correct, after this COVID has come, there is a lot of need for sharing the patient's data, correct. See, then only they were able to treat the people. Okay, so which means that they want to get the data of one patient, understand how the vaccine has behaved in that person, and then use that data to 1 second, no. Yeah, to help the other patients. So which means that a patient's data is today used for medical research purposes, but that is somebody is getting benefited. Somebody may take your data and give it to an analytical company, and that intermediate person will get the benefit of your data and not the patient. But you as a patient, you means somebody who is a patient who is giving his medical data for medical research purposes has to get benefited. Okay, so all these are the current issues in this thing. So why we have to see how the blockchain helps with some of these current issues. Okay, I am not again told you, correct. You would have already known what is a blockchain, which will be a shared database whereby a single version of truth is maintained across multiple nodes of various organizations, and each record that is committed is exactly the same value in all the nodes. Okay, and every member of the of the blockchain node is managed by its combination of public and private key, which will uniquely identify that person. So this property of public and private key will help to identify a patient across the hospital, because there cannot be two public and private keys for the same person. A person generating a public and private key will be the same across all the hospitals. Okay, so which means that it solves the first problem of giving a unique identity by creating a public and private key. That is the number one. Second thing is that it also 1 second, I'm within the health guide. So that is one of the things. So it basically address the first problem is that it is addressing, it is blockchain ensures that it is giving a unique identity across hospitals. If 5 hospitals are in a blockchain network, and if a patient is generated with a public key and a private key is owned by the patient, the same public key can be referred by all the 5 hospitals, and the patient will be uniquely known across all the 5 hospitals with that public key. So that is the first one. The second problem is that the privacy, correct? So what is happening? I told you, no, the without the consent of the patient, unless the patient says that, correct, I wanted to share my data with a analytical company or a drug pharmaceutical company, it cannot be shared. Blockchain, again, with this encryption mechanism, it will ensure that a patient record can be fully encrypted, and it will not be shown to the other people unless the patient approves it. So it solves the second problem of privacy also. I told you the first problem is about unique identity, and blockchain solves that problem. The second problem is about privacy, and blockchain also solves that with this encryption mechanism. And these are all the other important this thing. The third problem I told you, correct, the monetization. The monetization is that I told you, no, this is like when somebody got affected by, say, corona, correct? Now they wanted to share their data, like how they got infected, what medicine they took, how they recovered, at the time of their recovery, what was their blood level, blood counts, where your platelet counts and all those things. If they share that information to a pharmaceutical company without their identity, they need not give their identity. They need not give this is so and so. Rather, they'll say that this is a patient 45 years of age with this in this living year, male, single, whatever that information, and this is what has happened. Now, assuming that this data is used by a pharmaceutical company, and naturally the pharmaceutical company has to give back certain money to this patient, okay, because they are using his data to create a patient's some kind of a pharmaceutical solution. So that is also solved by blockchain, because blockchain has been traditionally used for creating tokens. Somebody would have already talked to you about the tokens in the blockchain. Tokens are some kind of an imaginary currency which can be created on blockchain and transferred as if it is a currency. So with the use of the tokens, the blockchain also solves the problem of the patients getting monetized for their effort in sharing the data. Of course, there are other benefits like it will lower the healthcare cost, because now one hospital will have all the information. It will have the information about the past treatment, his personal data, everything together, which means that they will spend less time in diagnosis of the patient. So that will why it's a it will also lower the healthcare cost. Okay, and similarly for the provider, which means it could be doctors as well as the hospitals, it reduces the diagnosis cost, diagnosis time, because they have all the data. They will not spend more time in the diagnosis of the patient, and it also ensures that the patient data is protected. Because what happened, no, yeah, it may not happen that much in India, but in US, in other European countries, if a patient data is stolen by some middleman and sold it to somebody, and he come to know about it, they could sue the hospital, okay, for several thousands of dollars. That is a big risk for the hospital. Now with the blockchain, since it provides the encryption and other mechanism, the chances of breaches is also reduced. That is also an help for the hospital. So with these 5 points, what we have seen was that the blockchain is basically trying to address all these issues of today's healthcare data sharing. So it tries to address the uniqueness. It tries to ensure that the data is encrypted. It tries to ensure that the patient is monetized. It tries to ensure that the hospitals are protected from lawsuits, and it also ensures that the cost of the healthcare is reduced because of the faster diagnosis. So do you understand that by using blockchain, the patient data could be managed much better and shared much better, which will make the organization, healthcare hospitals and other organizations working in a much efficient manner. I told you about correct tokens. Here I just thought about a few lines about these tokens. So tokens basically it's one of the mechanism in the blockchain this thing. So it is basically, if you really see in the blockchain platform like Bitcoin, they were using basically token based concept to transfer money. So that means that the tokens could be very much used for transferring some kind of an imaginary cash between the patients and doctors, and between the patients and the healthcare analytical and the pharmaceutical companies, so that the patient need not spend from his packet, rather he will get the money for his own treatment. Okay, so that is why I put here this thing. So you can read about the tokens more from the Ethereum platform. So if you Google the Ethereum tokens, you will find out correct the way to how to create Ethereum tokens and all those kind of the thing. It is called ERC20 tokens in the Ethereum world. Okay, somebody would have already covered it. So that's why I briefly covered what is the token. And there is a lot of companies like Medical Chain and the Healtherium. These companies have been already making healthcare tokens to be used by the patients and doctors. Now, these are all the links, correct? I could share these links with you, later, that you could read more about it. Okay, whatever I talked, it's not something new. I'm talking. It is very much in the industry. You will find these links like how the lack of EHR is affecting the patient care. I told you, by putting a efficient healthcare shareability, you could improve the patient care. Okay. And second thing is that correct. Second link is about if you use EHR, the biggest concern is about the patient safety of the data. Okay, which means that while you are sharing is a double-edged sword. It may be used by some unscrupulous people also. So that is another important link that you have to read. This is the thing about correct why interoperability is very important. I told why the interoperability of data between is very important, which is obvious, correct? Nobody can be treated in one hospital. They have to go to multiple hospital, and that's why interoperability is very important. Finally, about token economics, I told you, correct, how these tokens playing a major role in the electronic health records as well as in the healthcare. So various points I talked about is all in the industry in the very early stages. Okay, some of these are maybe as late as 2020 April or May records. Most of them are in theory. Okay, not much systems have been developed at this time. Now, so far I talked multiple things about USA, correct? I told, yeah, USA has got this this regulation, UK has this regulation and all those things. What about India, correct? So India is also now embarking on nationwide healthcare initiative, which is known as an Ayushman Bharat. I think it is name changed a bit recently, but to think about it, Prime Minister started this last year, okay? It is about providing health care for all the people across the country, cashless this thing, which means that they could go to any hospital within India and get treated without worrying for their any identity or anything like that. Okay, so that is very important scheme. It may take some time, but even for these schemes, the blockchain playing a major role today, because the EHR, electronic health record in India, is at its very, very early stages. It is not there fully, not even there. So one country, one EHR is one important scheme by the this Indian government as part of Ayushman Bharat, which is possible through blockchain. I think they are already trying to implement it. Okay, even I went to Delhi a few times to have a few discussions with some government agencies, not for this purpose, but for other purposes. So definitely government is trying to do, Tamil Nadu government is also already doing something on blockchain for educational institutions. But its healthcare is of much more important, because healthcare is even more important at any time. And these are all the initiatives like Ayushman Bharat and one country, one EHR. This is the one. But we have to be a little bit careful about Indian context, because India is a country with multiple lingual this thing. And till now, various, these things have been conducted in local language. Okay, so which means that some of the records may be in other languages also, not definitely will be in other languages. Those have to be also taken care when it comes to the EHR, which is possible, but it is not a challenge. You will face it in USA, but you will face it in India. So what I told was that this is whatever I am talking, they are not just for USA alone. It is very much applicable to Indian context also. Okay, and you have to understand this is having a very huge potential. Okay, so this is not something we are trying for a useless purpose, because ultimately in IT industry whatever we do, while doing healthcare is a service to the humanity, that is a different thing. But in an IT industry, correct, everybody is a profit looking company. So which means that they will take care certain initiative only if it provides some certain yields back. But this initiative is of highest potential. That's why these data I am providing you, correct? So there will be a huge potential in taking up the healthcare initiatives in blockchain, because their market is very much increasing. Okay, and so this is the first portion. So what I talked in the first use case is that by using blockchain, various kinds of healthcare data like EMR and EHR and PHR can be shared across hospitals, and very much useful for country like India, especially with the schemes like Ayushman Bharat. And if this data is shared, it will help both the patients as well as providers who are doctors and hospital. It will also help to protect the privacy of the patient, and it will also help to monetize the patients with this thing. Any questions in this use case, or can I move on to the next use case? Anyone? Is it clear what I mentioned? Hello? Okay, can I continue then to the next use case?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So the next use case, correct? So now we have settled the question of patient records. What would be the next thing would be that the payer, there are multiple players in the healthcare. The one is called as a provider. Provider is the one like hospitals, doctors, lab who provide the services, which what we have seen now. The next important player is the payer. The payer is the person who makes the payment, because healthcare, it is a very huge cost, correct? Especially in other foreign country, it is a huge cost. Naturally, that is the concept of medical insurance is there. Both if you once you join the any organization, you will, even without joining organization also, you could take the health insurance in your personal capacity also. So which means that the insurance companies are known as the payers. They are the one who pay for the healthcare expenses. But what is the problem? But today that is a very complex process, because that is highly affected by the fraud. This term is known as an FWA, which is known as a fraud, wastage and abuse. What does it mean is this. The first thing is that, correct, see again, correct, you are seeing it in various movies and all, correct. People can do any kind of a manipulation. They are changing the records. They could do anything like that, no? So which means that if a very, in fact, when I was having my lunch today, I saw a news, correct. One hospital in Salem got caught, and they are now fully sealed that hospital because they gave wrong treatment with a very high cost for corona patients, and they have charged them highly, okay, which is an unwarranted this thing, which is now unnecessary services. The second bullet is about the patients which is not needed, correct. You go to somebody and then say that you got some illness and they can charge you. Another problem is that, correct, you may have a small problem. They may tell it as a very big problem. Okay. You may have a one small injury. They may tell it it's a fracture. Okay. And they may charge you more. The third is that, correct, sometimes they may just, for example, say even everybody would have done, correct, even sometimes some I have even seen, even some of the students or somebody, they used to give this, fake medical certificate, correct. They sometimes it is harmless. They take some leave in the school. They will give you a medical certificate from some known doctor and then say that I am sick for the last 1 week. Okay, since it is harmless, though, nobody will care. But what about somebody giving a bill saying that, correct, he got this treatment and giving a big bill. So that is the third kind of a fraud. The fourth is, sometimes hospitals may rearrange or reclassify the bills in such a manner that they get more payment than what they have actually spent. So basically the idea is that, correct, if this fraud is not kept properly, the insurance companies will suffer. The insurance companies suffer. What they will do, insurance companies are not here to do service, correct. They are here to make profit. They will put that thing back to the patients. So patients will pay higher premium next time. So the fraud in healthcare is a big thing. Now, what are all the I told you about the different kind of fraud, and this is the numbers in USA. You find this is a multi-billion issue. Unnecessary services, medical theft, wrong coding, and doing more than what is needed. All those kind of a problem are amounting to millions of dollars each year, and if you consolidate them, it will come into billion. Something like 3.5 billion is really a huge number when it comes to this thing. So this is another very important problem to prevent this. Okay, the healthcare fraud. That's why it is mentioned here. So this is again a few numbers. Okay, so these are all I collected from multiple places. So I thought of giving you this thing. This is in Europe. Okay, so in fact, it is saying that it's as big as Netherlands GDP. Okay, it's not in Europe; it's basically in US. But this value is such a high value that it is even equivalent to a GDP of a country. Okay, all these issues of healthcare fraud. Okay, now how can blockchain prevent it? Okay, so because blockchain basically provides a single view for these multiple agencies, which means that, correct, be it a doctor, be it a lab, be it a patient, and be it a third party checking agency. See, for example, correct, today corona tests are not done by the hospitals. The corona tests have been done by the another agency which is part of government. So if both the records are in the same place, the person is admitted to the hospital for some illness, and this government agency is coming and take the corona test, and they put that same record that the corona is negative, that he is not affected by corona. Now the hospital cannot cheat that, okay, he has got corona and we treated him, okay, because the information will be in the same database when it comes to blockchain, and nobody can tamper that record because it is from the cryptographically signed. So straight away I could give you a very good use case of this particular hospital is cheating is kind of avoided if these records of the patients everything is linked using blockchain. So that's why I mentioned that this blockchain's principles like immutability, decentralization, and cryptography and all those things will help to prevent the frauds in the healthcare industry, the fraud, wastage, and abuse. Now, these are all the, again, I'm elaborating it further. The first thing is, correct, it is transparent. See, today what is the problem, correct? The patient is completely unaware of what is happening to him, correct? He go to an hospital, he may subject to some treatment, but he is not even aware that, correct, who gave that recommendation that I am having this problem. Is that correct? Is it validated by some other doctor? He has got no clue. But with blockchain, the patient can completely see his history, and he will be sure that, okay, it is indeed a correct treatment. And the second thing is that, correct, I told you about, correct, the one issue, this higher codified billing, correct, that is they could refer to an higher level specialist without a need. The higher level specialists are always costly. For a simple problem, if you put it to the best doctor, he will naturally charge you more. So with the blockchain, the referrals are also transparent. You could actually see who is referred by whom and for what reason, and is it approved or not approved. Okay, all that information is fully transparent, and it is real time. The smart contracts of the patients and the doctors can be real time exchanged, so that nobody can say that this thing. And the last point I'll come bit later. So basically the first 3 points are all about the more transparency, the more what you call it as easy to transfer the information exchange between the patients and providers, and referrals and everything could be tracked. The workflow and the audit trial, everything could be tracked. So which makes the blockchain a very good solution for ensuring that there is no fraud in the healthcare system. Okay, so this is the second use case. Okay, so now so far I talked about 2 use cases. One is about the patient record. Can a patient go to multiple hospitals and get treated without any issue, and while ensuring that his data is not compromised, and yet he get benefit of the data that he is sharing to the pharmaceutical and medical research company? That is number one. Second thing is that from an healthcare payer perspective, how can the fraud, wastage, and abuse can be avoided? That is the second thing. The third use case I wanted to is about healthcare provider credentializing. I told you, Tamil Nadu government is working on a blockchain database for educational purposes. This is something very exactly touching that use case. Very important, because see, today, correct, every day you are seeing it in the paper, correct, this concept of poly doctor, correct. So somebody is not a doctor, he can be calling himself a doctor. Even somebody even practicing for 10 years. I read a news in the paper that somebody was practicing for last 10 years and he was actually not a doctor. Okay, he may be a Siddha doctor. Siddha is good, really good. I'm not this, but he may not be the MBBS doctor. Okay, so something like that. So what is how do we prevent today? It is there is no way. That is like right in Tamil Nadu we are having the problem. We have no way. We only trust it, if this person is in this area for last 50 years, so he should be a good doctor. We are not going and asking doctor which college you studied, how many marks you got, have you got certified in cardiology and all those things, because in India we trust the people, correct? Whereas in US, what is happening, every doctor joining an hospital has to go through a process called credentializing. The credentializing is ensuring that he is actually indeed a doctor as he claims, and he has got exactly the certifications that he claims. Okay, and not only it is needed for the first time, every 2 years also he should need it, because he may lose a license, correct? He may get into a malpractice, correct? So this is a very important use case, healthcare provider credentializing. So today what is happening, it is a very time consuming process. If some doctor joins a new hospital, say a new doctor joins Apollo hospital, correct? Now Apollo hospital has to ensure that multiple things. He has a past work experience as mentioned correctly. Second thing, that he claimed to have studied in Madras Medical College. Is that correct? He claimed to have got 90% marks. Is that correct? He has got a diploma in UK. Is that correct? And additionally, whether he has got any malpractice, maybe he would have worked in Madurai and would have conducted some malpractice, correct? Is that happen? Okay. So that is a very time consuming process today. Okay, it is not an easy. They have to check with multiple background checks and do it. And till the time it is done, this doctor cannot start the practice. So which means that it is also loss of revenue for the hospital. Okay. And the third thing is that, correct, I told you the liability. Liability is that in US it is definitely more. If there is a wrong doctor who is not qualified and he is doing a treatment and it is found out later, he can be sued. That the hospital can be hospital can be sued. So all these issues have to be tackled. Okay, so you got this problem, very typical of the any doctor. Okay, so now now the problem, additionally why this problem is even more, because of the telemedicine. Okay, so earlier what used to happen was that a person, say in a particular area, correct, say for example in New York area, New York, one county in New York, he will normally go to that doctor in that area only. But now after this corona, people have started using telemedicine. Even in India, correct, now more and more hospitals are using telemedicine. They say that, correct, we will consult using the technology. But that means you are even more unknown to the doctor now. See, at least when you are seeing that doctor in person, you may come to know that he is indeed qualified. Now with the telemedicine, you have absolutely no idea whether you are even talking to a real doctor or to a robot or some bot or something like that. So this concept of credentializing is even more needed when it comes to today's concept of, after corona, the post-corona telemedicine scenarios. So this is the cycle, correct? I told you, whenever the credentializing today happens, it's a very manual with some IT related process. With the blockchain, what it can happen is that you see these various stakeholders. One is that, education. The first thing is that whether the doctor has studied in, say, MMC. This is exactly what Tamil Nadu government is now doing. They are now linking Anna University and other thing. Tomorrow, by the time you and all finish, if the blockchain is active, say you get a job in an IT company in Delhi, they need not worry about whether you studied in this college or not. They could refer to that blockchain of Tamil Nadu government and check it up. Okay, so that is the first thing. Second thing is about the licenses. As a doctor, correct, the licenses are very, very important. Not everybody can do specialize in cardiology. They need to get some kind of a additional license, not just MBBS, some additional license for that. Then third is experience, correct? They claim the experience in some other hospital in Mumbai. They could still track it using blockchain. And the fourth is very important. No, the regulations, correct? You would have gone into a lawsuit in that hospital by performing a poor diagnosis. So that information should also be there in the blockchain network. So by linking all this information, we could actually provide a very good visibility about a doctor. So this is another important use case of this. Whatever I mentioned, I put it as a text here. So basically it gives you an accurate doctor directory without issues of integration, and it provides a real-time information, and the patients can be fully sure that the doctor they are getting treated is indeed the correct doctor. So this is another important use case in this one. Okay, so what are the three use cases now is about patient data sharing, the fraud and wastage for the insurance companies, healthcare insurance payers. Third is that the provider, the patient is one side, provider is the other side. Provider as in doctors, whether they are indeed qualified to take care the treatment. So that is the third use case. One another use case is the traceability of the drug. This is in fact one of the project done by your college student with me. Okay, so I'm just collecting some data from their presentation, but because since itself is very good one. But this is another one, correct? Today, what happened? No, the pharmaceutical, you would have seen, correct? This polymer concept, you know, that you may go to this thing. They may say that no, this drug is not from the original manufacturer. Okay, Merck or somebody would have created that medicine, but somebody would have made a very similar wrapper and give it to you. What is the big problem is, you know, one is that somebody is cashing on it. Second thing is the health of the patients. If they take a wrong for medicine, which is not from the official manufacturer, it will be a big problem. So this supply chain of the patient, this thing. So what is the supply chain involved, correct? It involves multiple people. So it starts with the supplier of the raw materials, correct? So if a medicine is prepared, there is a multiple raw materials, okay, be it, you know, various leaves and other thing like medicinal plants and other thing, or some acids, everything together have to be supplied, and they get manufactured in a facility, and they go to a distributor, and from that a wholesaler, and the wholesaler to the retailer, ultimately to the hospital and to the patient. So this is a big supply chain of one. If you take one tablet today, you have to understand that this is going back to a big supply chain. So this is also another use case where the blockchain could actually trace all the records of this supply chain and could track it much better. So this also, since is a small POC done by one of your college students, so I just mentioned it. So these are all the various use cases. Okay, I just wanted to give an highlight. There could be few more use cases, but that could be subset of this. Okay, for example, the supply chain itself is a big thing. It could be handled for multiple scenarios, not only for pharmaceutical, even for medical supplies or handling the medical waste, correct? So suppose a very hazardous waste is there, correct? Somebody is operated, and a lot of this waste is there, no, all these cottons and other thing, which cannot be just like that thrown, which has to be properly segregated and this thing. So even that purpose, you know, blockchain could help you to track that, saying that whether it has been recycled properly. Otherwise, you know, it may cause hazard to, it may spread the disease to somebody else. Okay, so the supply chain itself is a big thing which can actually get into multiple smaller use cases, but at an high level, it is the medical supply chain that can also be used for getting this thing. So various use cases, correct? We have to start with something either at the patient side or the provider side or on the payer side or on the pharmaceutical side or the supply chain, pharmaceutical supply chain side. In all the cases, the blockchain could be of very much useful. So I would be also happy to listen from you maybe later as an offline mechanism. If you think of any different use case in the healthcare outside of this, correct? So we could definitely make you help you to do that project and get a further elaboration of that concept. Okay, so that is also one of my thought process. So with this, correct, I could stop my presentation and be open for any questions from your side. Okay, so any question, please let me know.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, can you hear my voice?
Yes, I'm able to hear you.
Sir, I'm doing my research in healthcare using blockchain technology.
Okay.
So, is it
Who is
possible
talking?
to?
Who is talking now?
Sir, this is Devi, sir.
Okay, Devi. Nice, man.
Yeah, I'm
Please
Devi.
continue.
So, I'm doing my research in blockchain technology in
Okay.
healthcare industry. Is
Okay.
it possible to get the patient records, sir?
See, that's what I told you, correct? Patient record, we'll have to work with the hospitals, okay? It is not
Okay.
under, it can definitely a company cannot give, correct? We could always
Okay.
create with some dummy records, okay? Dummy record, that is one thing. And if you go to, US site, there are a lot of sample patient records available without personal identity. See, they still share the patient data for medical research purpose. Anything on the research, you could get the patient data, but you won't get the personal identity. You will not get this Robert Smith data, but you will get that a patient with 45 years of age living in New York having this ailment, he is being treated. That much information you could get it in several sites in the this thing. You could definitely get that.
Okay, sir. I have one more doubt. How to implement the EHR in blockchain technology, sir?
No, I told you, correct. Blockchain will provide the building blocks for an EHR. Blockchain will provide the multiple hospitals to share the information. So we have to build the subsequent system like a smart contracts and the other things on top of it and provide certain integration mechanism. There is a standard called HL7. HL7 is the medical standards for data transfer. So we'll have to implement those mechanisms on top of it. It's not a simple answer. Blockchain will provide the building blocks. We'll have to build by linking the hospital records of various hospitals and create an EHR system out of it. Again, it is as I mentioned in those links, it is in the early stages of research. We could definitely elaborate. People are trying to elaborate it and make it as an EHR. Okay.
Okay, sir. I read one paper to implement the EHR and blockchain technology using MEDRAC protocol. So, what is it, MEDRAC protocol, sir?
I will check it up, but as I told you, this ideally there are, see, blockchain will only store the data, okay?
Okay.
Blockchain is not a communication mechanism, okay? To
Okay, sir.
communicate, you needed a protocol, okay? That is why I told about HL7. So HL7 is one standard. Probably MEDRAC is something similar to that, okay? I will
Okay.
find out. But
Okay, sir.
as I mentioned, no, you need still a communication mechanism with the database. But because blockchain itself cannot communicate, okay, so that is where you needed this additional process. Again, correct. It is not just one technology. You will use blockchain. You will use AI for predicting the patient health, and you will also use IoT. I told you, to get the patient health record from the personal devices, we also need IoT. So all these technologies have to be joined together, only you will make this system, not just with one technology.
Okay, we need to know IoT or
No,
AI.
it's in other words, you need not know in depth. You have to at least visualize that how your system will look from a larger perspective, like how the people will use it, correct? Otherwise, it will be only a one side of the view. If you see a big picture, you have to at least present it from an overall perspective. That's what I meant. See, for example,
Sir,
AI is only an odyssey. I told medical research, correct? How can a medical research be done without AI, correct? Otherwise, it is just a reporting, correct? Nobody wants to know. See, today, every day, everybody is giving report like how many patients have been affected by corona in this district, and how many have been. That is reporting, correct? What is medical analytics is that how do I predict whether this patient will get corona, correct, or some other disease? For that, you need AI. That is the ultimate aim of the analytics, correct? Analytics is not about just providing the historical data, but about future data. That is why I mentioned the AI is also playing a major part whenever you talk about patient data, because otherwise, its purpose will be limited. That's what I want to say.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you very
Sir,
much, sir.
Sure,
sir,
please.
can I ask one question, sir?
No,
This
please,
is
please,
Dr.
please.
Vetri Velan from
Sure, sir.
VIT.
Sure,
As
sure.
you mentioned clearly about there are different kinds of analytics like descriptive analytics, that is only a reporting,
Yeah.
diagnostic analytics, why it has happened, like perspective analytics,
Correct.
likewise we have various kinds of analytics.
Correct, correct,
That is
correct.
all happening in the central cloud. So with respect to context of medical aspects,
Yeah.
we have something called wireless body area network, wherein we can attach several sensor in the human body and data acquisition, and all these informations are very vital information. And
Correct,
we
correct.
wanted to have two different kind of analytics, one on the user side,
Cloud.
that is edge analytics or fog
Yes.
analytics, the other one on the central. So is there any framework which is there in existence as approved policy to perform edge analytics, sir? With
Definitely.
respect to
See, if you see the cloud providers like Azure, since I work more with Azure, I am talking about. See, Azure has got
Yes, sir.
an Azure Edge, IoT Edge. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
IoT Edge is about very smaller devices like ARM devices, which can actually hold an analytical engine. Okay, they will also hold a time series data and an analytics engine, and they are in
Sir.
the preview stages. Okay, I think if you wanted to do that research, star, you could definitely get from Microsoft directly that software
Yeah.
without any cost. Definitely those edge software will definitely help. Edge frameworks like IoT Edge, and there is a SQL Edge also, which you could run in a ARM chip. Okay, that's a full-fledged analytical engine running in an ARM chip. That those all the frameworks, and they have the fully authentication mechanism. They have the streaming mechanism, and all those things are built in into that.
Very true, sir. I think being a researcher, I think I'm guiding set up PhD scholars in VIT. We work in terms of what you call real data collection with WBAN. And is there any open source framework which you would like to suggest for a researcher or teaching community? Because
Sure. I will not tell, I'm not able to tell on the fly, but definitely there are for every one of the, like, for example, if it is streaming technology, correct, there is a Storm, Apache Storm, like that, no, Spark,
yes, sir.
and all those things are there. Let me just to give some analysis and then send it to by you as a mail, sir.
Yes, sir. Fine, sir. I will write a mail and get your mail ID from
Sure.
Dr. Dhanlakshmi professor, and
No problem, no
we
problem.
will get back to you, sir.
Definitely.
Yes, sir.
I think
Yes, sir.
our college is also, I mean, our organization also coming to you for campus, I believe. So definitely we will
Oh,
meet you at that time, sir.
sure, sir. Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Any other questions? Okay, so I think if there are no more questions, as I mentioned, correct, this is just an introduction. So, like the actual, so like we are researchers and hands-on people. The theories will not be just enough. So we have to definitely build real systems, okay, with these concepts to see how they work. Some of the challenges in healthcare is that, correct, it is not so easy to get that data just like that. We have to be careful if we cannot use the real patient identity, and a lot of complaints are there, okay, and we need to be also sensitive to the patient's privacy, correct. Somebody is
Sir,
exposing the, yes.
so sorry to again interrupt you, sir. I forgot to ask one more question. Like
Sure.
we do work in terms of when patient move from one location to other location, even from one country to another country. So we thought we are proposing something like global repository where user their previous what do you call treatment and other surgery and all reports. Even though when we move from India to US or vice versa, or even we can able to access expert's opinion sitting at a remote village in Tamil Nadu. So through primary health center and then going to the taluk office. This is how the framework we are all working and applying various policy based security aspects, because it's a human vital informations are very what you call prone to attack. And somebody, I think there is one movie name, I don't remember exactly to tell, somebody hacks the information and it's something like a killing. That's something like a digital killing. So we work in terms of the policy and rule based security provisioning and like a ledger update and other things. So is there any like globally accepted policy framework in terms of healthcare aspects?
No, that's right.
Well accepted.
USA, this HIPAA is there, no? HIPAA and the high tech is also there. So these are all the various standards, correct? And GDPR is an European standard, correct, about the personal data protectivity. And CCPA is another standard in US. So these are all the various standards which are this thing. One good thing with these clouds, you know, like Microsoft Cloud or Amazon Cloud, they are automatically HIPAA certified. So which means that, correct, they have got some basic elements that are set up that is required in terms of, you know, HIPAA certification. They are already there. Only one thing with, you know, your centralized repositories, what is the problem was that, no, the cost of it, correct? Who will bear that cost? That is the one challenge. That's why, you know, sometimes this decentralizing technologies will be better, because in this decentralizing, the cost is actually shared by the multiple hospitals. When compared to a centralizing, centralizing can be done by government, but not by one hospital, because they will not have the motivation to centralize on their behalf for other hospitals. So that could be one challenge there.
Okay, sir.
But definitely, I mean, we could definitely see these results with these kind of research will definitely going further. We'll also share any further updates on this front, because we are also talking with a few hospitals to see how they take these ideas also. We can share it. And Microsoft, in fact, they are coming up with a few latest services. They also now recognize. Last month, they have introduced the Azure Healthcare Cloud. You could Google it. Healthcare cloud. Maybe I'll just show you that. So they are come up with some very new services, very specific to healthcare. Okay, so if you see this, just a minute. See this Microsoft Healthcare Cloud.
I think
so again,
I think your system is not shared now, sir.
Oh, okay. Fine. Sorry. So I'll just share this. So this one, correct? Microsoft Cloud for Healthcare.
Yeah. Microsoft.
So these are all some of the new services. See, it is just launches. You know, it's a 18 hours back. So it is. See, you are seeing. You know, it is now. It's a trend now because of this. You know, COVID. Now everybody is realizing the importance of technology in healthcare. So this is probably the best time. So this is the best article as hot as now. It has come just now. In fact, I myself didn't expect this, but it was like, you know, it is things are happening in this direction now, right? So because everybody is seeing its importance.
Yes, sir.
So with this, you know, I could say thanks for your time for everyone. We'll definitely meet at once this, you know, lockdown is over in person. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It was a wonderful session. And I would also like to mention, only after the first introduction of your blockchain lecture in our college, our students got very much interested, and most of the projects were in blockchain from that year.
Correct. I saw
Yes,
that.
sir.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a, yes, sir.
Correct.
It was an excellent session, and thank you, sir. Thank you. KCG is not new for you,
Correct.
and you are one of our academic council member. Everything. So thank you again, sir.
Thanks
Yes, sir.
everyone.
Yeah.
All the best.